Well, the intentions for the Steampunk Rainbow Machine were to fulfil our theme for the year, which was colour. And we have an exhibition in the Salamanca Arts Centre, and this year it's colour. But last year was narrative, so I suppose that some of the narrative hung over. So we sort of told a story, and steampunk is something that I really like because it's just a fascinating idea about the object and how to use the object. And it's a centre of decoration and cosplay, a whole lot of other things that are really fun. So we gave the kids a brief all through the art school to design a machine that made a rainbow. And for some of the younger children it was birds drinking paint and hatching out eggs and little birds that sang rainbows and things like that. But for the older people, they were able to draw beautiful little bits of mechanisms, old clocks and watches and things like that. And I then asked them, could they do a group machine, which they did with not much prompting. So we wanted it to be big and we wanted to make a film. So because we don't have much space, we worked on paper and we wanted to make giant cogs and gears. So I showed them how to do an enormous circle using a pin and a piece of wool, and they cut out huge pieces out of craft paper and then turned them into cogs and gears. And then it sort of morphed further. They didn't seem to think that was enough, so they made their shapes organic. So we developed things like Storm in a Bottle, which was like a giant ship in a bottle, but it had electricity in it, and it was meant to visually generate power, and giant hamsters and rats in wheels that also generated power, and an octopus in a light globe. And I don't know how it generated power, but it seemed to. And these were collaged and drawn and worked with pastel, all sorts of different mediums, and all enormously large. And we tried to work out how to fit them together so that they formed a coherent machine. And we did that on a small scale. So we had another piece of paper and tiny little, very beautiful drawings of their plans, and they stood around and talked about how to do it. The people in the group, 8 people, from about 12 years of age to 16. Some of the people have come to the art school since they were 5, so they've been there for 10 years. So a very family-like group of people. We all know each other really well. So we made these giant pieces, and we had one day to shoot the film in, and there was going to be an enormous storm. So we took the risk, and I asked my partner to be the photographer, and he set up with a tripod outside the Salamanca Arts Centre courtyard. So we hadn't trialled our pieces, we didn't know how they fit together. We had chalk to draw piping and various connections on the ground, and out we went. And at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and the wind came up, so we put the pieces on the ground and they blew away. So we got all the masking tape we could find, and we glued them to the ground and they blew away. So we got some more masking tape, and then they blew. Anyhow, eventually we sort of glued them down, and we tried to work out how they would fit together visually, trying to keep them within the view of the camera. And the children were pretty excited. We had 1 or 2 who ran round and round because it's exciting to be outdoors, and had fun. We had a giant rainbow made from metres and metres and metres of multicoloured tulle, and the colours like the fluoro green really popped, really, really beautiful against the grey of the sea. Like a bridal train, isn't it?
It is.
I told them at the council that this would be very rough. Cool. And then it started to rain, and the paper got soft, and the paper started to dissolve, and we couldn't fit our rainbow inside the great trumpet that it was supposed to pour out of properly without tearing everything. And it was very exciting, and it worked. And it worked because of the weather, to some extent. And when we filmed the end, we got in the lift, the Art Centre lift, which is a glass lift. And as it went up to the third floor, you could look down and see the complete steampunk machine and hear a lot of giggles in the background of the other people, the children who were squashed in the lift. And you could see that machine working wonderfully in the darkness, because it was getting very dark by then, but also dissolving as the weather took it away. And then we came back inside, we cleaned up our mess, and we all our paper had to go in the bin. It was an ephemeral artwork, and the only thing that lasted was the film. All back in the bin, we came inside and took our bows and had our class clown do a performance at the end, which was unscripted. So the whole thing was pretty much unscripted.
What's an ephemeral artwork?
An ephemeral artwork's one which there is no object left at the end in terms of traditional art forms, something on a plinth or something hanging on the wall.
Your name?
names are, starting with Ash.
Mix!
Congratulations.
Congratulations. You want to take a bow?